Hey friends, how are you? I am hoping that you're having a beautiful day and that your week is going really quickly. I wanted to drop in and have a little discussion with you today. We're not cooking. If you're upset about that, I'm sorry. I promise we'll be cooking again soon. But one of the things that's been kind of at the top of my mind lately is the idea that you can follow a certain type of diet, and just because it's approved on that diet means you don't have to worry about anything else. The fat's supposed to just fall right off, and honestly, I don't believe that that is an effective method for fat loss. Whether we are talking paleo, whole30, vegan, gluten-free, ketogenic, any of those things, I am going to maybe go against the grain a little bit today and have a little discussion and maybe make you think a little bit about this. I think by the end of this, you will all agree with me that just because something is labeled a certain way does not mean that it is necessarily the best option for you for fat loss long term. If you don't know me, my name is Samantha Rowland. I am a certified personal trainer. I am a nutrition coach, and I'm also a faster way to fat loss coach. And I have spent the past few months really digging deep into a lot of diets and really questioning why there are so many on the market and what some of the downfalls are of these diets. Why isn't there just one diet that works for everyone? And what I'm finding is that the limiting mentality that a lot of these diets have around food is truly what makes them great, but it's also what ends up making them really hard to keep up with in the long term. And unfortunately, that's already a recipe for disaster in the long, if you ask me. But the other thing is that a lot of us stop thinking through, okay, let's just, for example, say you're going paleo or gluten-free. That's easy, right? Gluten-free is even easier. So I'm cutting gluten out, going gluten-free. As long as the package says gluten-free, it's got to be good for me. So I can eat whatever as long as there's no gluten in it, right? And you end up eating a bunch of Pop-Tarts and Toastal Strudels that are all gluten-free. Your pizza's now gluten-free. You're going out to eat, getting this and that and this and that. And all of a sudden, you guys, you're going to be 5 or 10 pounds heavier than you were before you went gluten-free. And you might be like, wait, I thought that was supposed to help inflammation. Well, it does, but you cannot take away the basic principles of eating whole foods as a basis of your diet. So that's just an easy example of you have to look past the label. So if it's something that's, let's say paleo, for example, and this is my favorite, I actually eat a mostly paleo diet, and I prefer if my clients eat a mostly paleo diet. But you guys heard that word for right there, mostly. And the reason is that I actually ask my clients to look deeper than that. And it's to go into making sure that they're getting their essential macronutrients as well as micronutrients. And where I see specifically women get in trouble, but women and men get in trouble with the paleo diet, is they're usually on one of two extremes. Extreme number one is they end up going super low carb unintentionally, just trying to replace some of the old things that they would eat. So they replace their noodles with zoodles, their rice with cauliflower rice. Maybe they'll have like one sweet potato a day, if that. Most of their food is based around fat from like avocados and coconuts and using nut flour and things like that. So they went from a lot of heavy carbs in their diet to a lot of protein and fat. And granted, these are really good quality ingredients, but the problem is that they end up going way too low carb for themselves, and then they get themselves into trouble because their hormones start getting unbalanced, because as women, we tend to need more carbs than men do. So having to modify the typical paleo approach to make sure you're getting enough of those good foods in. So really making sure you have a balanced diet, which means you need to look at your macronutrients, not just the label of paleo. The other side, where I see a lot of women, and myself included, which is why I really am kind of skeptical when I see paleo recipes specifically, is that a lot of us tend to go towards that sweet paleo, right? So we have this label, oh gosh, it's sweet, it's paleo, it's got to be good for me, I can have 10, right? Same thing with gluten-free, same thing with even the low-fat stuff. You guys know how this can get you in trouble very quickly. You all of a sudden had 15 date bars, and then you had a sweet potato with maple syrup and all this stuff, and you're forgetting to eat vegetables because you're filling up on these paleo treats. So really, again, watching your macronutrients instead of just if it falls into that paleo realm. Now, one of my favorite diets to kind of go against all of this is like a vegan diet, right? And you're like, how do you get fat eating vegetables? I don't understand, Sam. Well, unfortunately, a lot of the replacements out there for vegan diets end up being a lot of artificial gums and thickeners and all this stuff to try to mimic the foods that you're giving up when you go vegan, and or they're very gluten dense. So a lot of meat substitutes end up having a ton of gluten, which isn't great if you have a gluten sensitivity and you don't know it, and that's why you're carrying around your tummy. The other thing that going vegan sometimes produces is that you will see that you are overeating an abundance of maybe fat and carbs and not hitting your protein numbers, which again, macronutrients have to matter. Now, I am not one to say that everybody on the planet should be tracking their food all the time, but if you have fat loss goals, I'm going to seriously question if your la-di-da, I can eat whatever I want whenever I want strategy is truly getting you to those fat loss goals. Because I can tell you, you talk to any bodybuilder, any person that's really, really kind of strict in the gym, and they're probably going to be able to tell you on average what their macros look like for the day. And there's a reason for that, because if you get out of hand in any one category, you're going to see that physically in your body. So really thinking about, sticking to that whatever you want to be, whether it's vegan or paleo or even whole30. I know whole30, the rule is you don't track and you don't do any of those things. And I love that, but the only caveat I have with a whole30 type diet is that it tends to lead people into feeling very on or off. And I love that for 30 days you really commit to yourself and you stay on and you work really hard. You're reading all the labels, you're learning how to cook. These are all incredible strategies that I wish everyone would implement in their lives. But that on or off mentality is, I think, one of the things that gets us in trouble in the long run. It's not that it's too strict, and it's not that it's 30 days and you go eat your face off. That's a choice you make. But where I struggle with it is that I really practice progress over perfection with my clients. And what I see is that long term, that helps them kind of get over that I'm on again or I'm off again. Oh my gosh, I was so bad. So since I was bad at 3 p.m., I'm just going to eat my face off for the rest of the day. Start again tomorrow. Tomorrow didn't happen. I'll start again Monday. And that is not a healthy mindset to be on. The same thing goes with vegan or gluten-free or any of those things, paleo, whatever it is. If you are so attached to being that one thing, and you have a perfection mentality around it, you have to remember that not being perfect does not give you a reason or an excuse to throw everything you've been working on out the window. It's always get right back at it the very next meal, the very next step, the very next thing that goes in your mouth can be something different. Progress, not perfection. And I think if we could just wrap our heads around being more aware of our macronutrients and also giving ourselves some grace when it comes to trying to be perfect in whatever diet we are working on, we will see fat loss happen. And I listened to Primal Potential, Elizabeth Benton. If you have iTunes or you have even Spotify at this point, I love her. I suggest everybody follow her. She's very whole foods based, a lot of science, a lot of nutrition advice, But what I love about her is that recently she made a comment that one of the winners of the CrossFit Games said that slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And when I first heard that, I was like, I don't understand. But it truly applies to what we've been saying, what I've just been talking about today. If you would just slow down, even though it feels like it's taking forever to get to your goal, it's better than going really fast, burning out, having to start again. Going really fast, burning out, having to start again, right? So slow is smooth, and then smooth is fast. You actually get to your goal faster than if you have to keep stopping, right? So instead of running that marathon, what do they always say? It's not a sprint, or it's not a marathon, it's a sprint, whatever, vice versa. Really thinking about that when you are going into your goals as well. So it's the middle of the month. I really hope that you are still working really hard on your goals. Do not give up on yourself. I know that you can do this. If this spoke to you, I'd love for you to share this with a friend. Also, I'd really, really, really love for you to give me a comment below about maybe what you've been doing, how this was helpful for you, because this is what I want to be able to share with you, these cutting posts, but I need to know that you're excited about them and that they were helpful for you. So give me a comment, give me a share, whatever you want to do. That'd be lovely. I'd love hearing from you guys. And if you're struggling with this and you know you need a coach, I'm your girl. Faster Way to Fat Loss starts again in about a month. So registration is going to be open. I'll go ahead and open the cart tonight just in case. So talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.